Assalamu alaikum, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. Good to see everybody, mashallah. So we have been making some amazing progress. We are now entering the next section, which is the early Medina section. So we're already on the third part of that circle. I did email out a QY chart. So let me show you what that QY chart looks like. And that QY chart is from yesterday's lesson. So it's called the Late Makkah screen for me. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so if you can see my screen, this is the Late Makkah years quadrant. And so once again, a quadrant is a fourth of a circle. And as you can see, this is just that bottom piece that we covered yesterday already. So if we just look at the original QY circle, you can see this circle right here. So we have the ban years. So we have the 7, 8, and 9 are the years of the ban. So 7, 8, and 9 years of the ban. Then we have the year of sadness. Okay, so year number 10 is the year of sadness, where we lose Khadija and Abu Talib. And we also have year 11, which is the Isra and Miraj, and year 12, which is Aqaba, the first Aqaba pledge. So that is what we have on this worksheet, which is the Late Makkah worksheet. Okay, so you have all weekend, inshallah, to cover this worksheet, and you want to do it just like that other one that we did yesterday. So those of you that were here yesterday, you know that this is an example of what the first quadrant looks like. My daughter Asma had made this one. She just put equal pieces into that pie chart. She labeled it with the year number and what happened. So we want to do the same thing for that second piece. And, we already covered that material. We are now actually in the third piece today. We're going to the third piece in our content, which is early Medina, okay? So let's turn to that part of our book, inshallah, early Medina, with the Hijra, which is year 13. So if you will open to page 171.
Is there a picture of the circle on the website?
So I have it in my Google Drive.
That's a good question.
I don't have it on the website, but if you want me to, I can just, I can send you a copy of that. That's not a problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can try to put it on the website. That would be fine, inshallah. I'll put a picture of that today on the website, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at 13.1, the second Aqaba pledge. Shortly after Mus'ab returns, remember who Mus'ab was? He was that helper of the Prophet who had gone for about 10 years, for 10 months away. And when he returns, 73 men and 2 women travel to Mecca for the annual pilgrimage. And that's 62 Khazraj and 11 Aus. Travel to Mecca for the annual pilgrimage. And upon their arrival, they agreed to meet with the Prophet in secret and help his plan to escape Mecca. And this is what they say. So Abbas escorts the Prophet to the gathering and is the first to address the audience. O you people of Khazraj, all of you know the position that Muhammad holds among us. We have protected. So all of you know the position that Muhammad holds among us. We have protected him from our people as much as we could. He is honored and respected among his people. He refuses to join any party except you. So if you think you can carry out what you promised while inviting him to your town, and if you can defend him against the enemies, then assume the burden that you have taken. But if you are going to surrender him and betray him after having taken him away with you, then you had better leave him now, because he's respected and well defended in his own place, okay? And so the pilgrims affirm their allegiance to the Prophet, who begins with the recitation of Quran. I'm sorry. So the Prophet says, so he begins with a recitation of Quran and has a final request. The Prophet says, I give you my pledge that you protect me from whatever you protect your women and children from. And then when one of the men asks what might happen to the helpers if the Prophet immigrates to Medina, but later returns to Mecca, the Prophet responds, nay, it would never be. Your blood will be my blood, In life and in death, I will be with you and you with me. I will fight whom you fight, and I will make peace with whom you make peace with. So this is called the second Aqaba pledge. This is an agreement which is on the bottom of page 173. So if you look at the bottom of this page, it describes the second Aqaba pledge between these people and the Prophet. And so in the pledge, there's about 5 components. We have the first component, to listen and obey in all difficulty and ease. Number 2, to spend in plenty as well as in scarcity. Number 3, to join good and forbid evil. Number 4, in Allah's service you will fear and censure, you will fear the censure of none. Number 5, to aid me when I come to you and protect me from anything you protect yourself, your spouse, and children from. And at the end it says, in that case, paradise is in store for you. So this is the second pledge of Aqaba. Let's look on the next page. 13.2 talks about the first immigrants to Yathrib. So Abu Salama is one of the first immigrants, or the first Muslims to leave for Yathrib. When he tries to leave Mecca with his entire family, some people come and intercept and stop his wife and children. So Salama and her son have to stay behind. And then that separation is temporary. Later on, they're able to join the husband, and are soon escorted by Uthman ibn Talha to the town of
Miss Muna, can you leave an example of the quadrants on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I'll do that, inshallah. So I think, let's say by tomorrow, I will have an example of the quadrants, something that looks like this, except it's going to be the late Makkah years, okay?
Okay.
Inshallah, I'll do that by tomorrow. Okay, so yes, so in other words, immigrating to Yathrib was not like a smooth and easy thing. People had trouble. So, some people, when they tried to go, they would get stopped. And there's a section here in a tan box that says, why was the hijrah risky? It says that the hijrah was risky because it says the hijrah was a risky enterprise, an irrevocable, frightening step. Nobody knew how it would work out because nothing quite like it had ever happened before in Arabia. The fact remained that even after the hijrah, the Muslims would remain a tiny minority in the oasis, dwarfed in size by the aloof, appraising pagans, Hanifs, and Jews. This is an excerpt. Aloof means to be alone or separated. That's a good question, Asma Islam. So Karen Armstrong wrote that. It's like a little passage out of her book. And then next it says, more Muslims left for Yathrib after the second Aqaba pledge. Some of those examples are Umar ibn al-Khattab, Zainab bint Ma'zun, the children of Hafsa and Abdullah, Uthman and Ruqayya, Abu Sabra and his wife Kulthum bin Suhail, and Hamza and Zayd, without their wives. And at the bottom it tells us, yes.
What year was this all happening?
This was happening on year 13. So we are on year 13 right now. We have passed the bottom of the circle now, okay? So we are no longer, if you remember the circle, we've already done half of the circle. We are now on the second half. So let me show you a better copy of the circle. So this circle right here, okay? So this circle, we already completed the first quarter, which was early Makkah. And then we completed the second quarter, which was late Makkah. Now we are on year 13, okay? So that was 0 to 6 was the early Makkah, 7 through 12 was the late Makkah. Now we're talking about the Hijrah, which is the year 13, okay? So we are now on the third quarter. You guys are doing great, mashallah. Okay, moving right along. So yes, so basically we're talking about different, people that started immigrating, and Surah Az-Zumar was revealed at this time. So if you look at the top of page 175, Surah Az-Zumar, there's an excerpt from there. It says, "O Muhammad, tell people that I myself have said, all my servants who have acted excessively against their own souls, don't lose hope of God's mercy, for God can forgive all sins. He truly is forgiving and merciful." So as we know, different revelations would come down at a timely manner according to what people were going through. And then we talk about the Prophet's guardian, Mut'im ibn Adi, who dies and leaves the Prophet especially vulnerable and provides a compelling reason for the Prophet to leave Mecca. So now the Prophet realizes that he really has to leave because his own guardian has passed away. Abu Jahl assembles the leaders of Quraysh, except for Abu Lahab, who seems to escape any sort of any sort of burden. So Abu Jahl plans to assassinate the Prophet. And in this plan, Jibril informs the Prophet of the conspiracy, and the Prophet goes straight to Abu Bakr's house and informs him that it is time for him to leave Yathrib. And so that is at the bottom of page 175. Let's go to the next page. 176. So the assassins surround the Prophet's house, and they hear the voices of Sauda, Kulthum, Fatima, and Ayman, and decide to attack in the morning when the Prophet usually emerged from his household. That night, the Prophet wraps his cloak around Ali. This is a Kahoot question today. So he wraps his cloak around Ali and instructs him to sleep in his bed that night. He then exits the house, and while reciting Surah Yasin, he's able to walk unseen right past the unsuspecting assassins. So I've heard another account where he threw some sand and that blinded the assassins. That's from a different source. But basically they didn't even see him passing by. And then we have another excerpt from Surah Yasin, which says, "We've put a wall of uncertainty in front of them and behind them and covered them in darkness of ignorance so they can't see a thing. It's all the same whether you warn them or you don't warn them, for they will not believe." So after the Prophet's escape, a man passes by his house and informs the assassins that he just saw the Prophet fleeing from the opposite direction. However, the men see Ali's silhouette through the window and decide to stick to their original plan and attack at dawn. And then Surah Anfal captures this moment, which is Surah 8, verse 30. It says that, "Recall how the faithless idol worshippers of Mecca plotted against you, Muhammad, either to imprison you, murder you, or drive you out of the city. They're making plans, and God was making plans, and God is the best planner of all." We now move on to section 13.4, which is the route to Yathrib. And so, of course, the Prophet ﷺ was trying to be safe. And so instead of taking the normal, usual northern route to Medina, the Prophet and Abu Bakr travel 5 miles south of Mecca to a cave in Mount Thawr, okay? And Amir ibn Fuhayra and his flock of sheep strategically follow them to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, Abu Bakr's children, Abdullah and Asma, travel back and forth for provisions for the 2 men. So I'm going to be asking you that on the Kahoot, what's the name of that mountain? And then back in Mecca,
what was it called again? The mountain?
Mount Thawr. Hania, it's Mount
Thawr.
Mount that? Yeah.
Thawr.
Thawr, like Thawr. Thawr. Okay, we are now on page 178. And by the way, on this page, there's a nice little map of the escape route that the Prophet took with Abu Bakr. And I'm also going to ask you on the Kahoot, who was the companion that accompanied the Prophet when he did the Hijrah? And the answer is Abu Bakr. So the Quraysh are, of course, furious. The Quraysh are furious when they find out that the Prophet has slipped through their fingers, and they set a bounty of 100 camels for each of the 2 fugitives and set out mercenaries. So they actually went all the way close to where the Prophet and Abu Bakr were in Mount Thawr. And a spider, as we know, a spider actually spun its web, which kind of diverted these people. And that's another Kahoot question. I'm going to ask you a true and false question about that. That, the Meccans did not capture the Prophet at that spot because he was protected. And so Surah Tawbah captures this moment in verse 40, where it says, "If you don't help Muhammad against the Byzantine Romans, then you should know that God helped him when the faithless drove him away from Mecca and tried to hunt him down. He was just one of the 2 men hiding out in the cave when he said to his companion, Abu Bakr, who is afraid that the Meccans would capture them? Don't be afraid, for God is with us." So on the next page, 179, so yes, it talks about the spider's web that was freshly spun. And then the 2 men, the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr, depart from Mount Thawr after 3 days of hiding. And Abu Bakr offers his camel qaswa to the Prophet, but the Prophet refuses to accept the gift without paying for that. So that is another Kahoot question I'm going to be asking you. That did the Prophet accept this camel gift? And of course, I think that's a true and false question. So the answer is going to be false, Asma. My daughter's asking. She has the best questions. So the answer is probably going to be false, because I think I said something like the Prophet felt entitled to this camel, but the real answer is that he did not accept this camel qaswa from Abu Bakr without paying for it. And then we go. he did not accept the camel, and he did not want to accept it without paying for it. So then Abu Bakr hires a local non-Muslim guide named Abdullah ibn Urayqit to plan their escape route. They set out for the Red Sea coast and slowly worked their way north, trying to avoid the usual route to Medina. With Mecca fading in the distance, Surah Al-Qasas reassures the two men that one day they'll return to their homeland. So here's a verse that was revealed from Surah Qasas. It says, "The one who has bestowed the Quran upon you will surely bring you back to the destination." Yes, so that is reassuring them that one day they will come back to Mecca. Later on that same page, it says that the two men were scared when they saw this caravan, this unidentified caravan approaching from the opposite direction, but it turned out it was Abu Bakr's cousin, Talha ibn Ubaidullah, returning from a trading expedition to Syria. And the men were able to change into fresh clothing from that caravan. 12 days after leaving Mecca, the Prophet and Abu Bakr reach a village named Quba. That's another Kahoot question I'm going to ask you about. What city did the Prophet stop at before he arrived in Yathrib? And the answer is Quba. And Quba is on the southern outskirts of Yathrib. Shortly after his much anticipated arrival, the Prophet addresses the excited crowd assembled around him. This is what he says. He says, "O people, unto one another bring of peace, feed food unto the hungry, honor the ties of kinship, pray in the hours when men sleep, so paradise in peace." Okay, so now we're on page 180. The Prophet stays with Kulthum ibn Hidam from the Aus subclan of Bani Amr, and Abu Bakr resides with a Khazraj family in the northern village of Sun. Having taken care of, so Ali ibn Abi Talib took care of, the business in Mecca, like paying off the Prophet's debts and everything. And then he reaches Quba a few days after the Prophet's arrival. Meanwhile, there's an important figure named Salman al-Farisi that I'm going to ask you about. He's a Persian who had anticipated the coming of a prophet, and he arrives in Medina just to see the Prophet. And he comes from a Zoroastrian family near the Persian city of Isfahan. So I'm going to ask you a multiple choice question about Salman al-Farisi. So you know that he was a Persian, you know that he came to see the Prophet in Yathrib, and you know that he is from a Zoroastrian family. All of those things are about him. And so yes.
What's a Zoroastrian family?
It's a fire worshiper. Do you remember the very first day we talked about different types of religions that were there at the time when the Prophet came into prophethood? One of those is Zoroastrianism, which is fire worshiping, and it was mainly in Persia. So I can go back and find that map for you, but in Persia, there was a large area that there was a lot of Zoroastrians, and that's where Salman al-Farisi is from. So,
Miss Mona?
Yes.
Why did he come to see the Prophet?
Oh, I'm about to tell you, because he is a man who dedicated his youth to finding the Prophet, to finding an Abrahamic prophet whose imminent arrival had been prophesied in Eastern churches. So he actually had learned about the Prophet's coming. He actually learned about it from his church because he converted to Christianity. Even though he was born into a Zoroastrian family, he converted to Christianity. And he heard about the Prophet Muhammad, coming. And so he searched Persia and Syria. It says that his search took him from Persia to Syria to Iraq. So he was really searching for the Prophet. After an unfortunate turn of events, he was sold into slavery to a Jewish merchant in Yathrib. But even then, Salman never gave up on finding the Arabian prophet that he had spent his entire life searching for. After confirming the Prophet's identity, he returns to Yathrib, hoping to see the Prophet once again. So here's another really nice map, the journey of Salman al-Farisi. For those of you that have the book, on page 180, that's a nice little map, and it shows, I don't know if I can make it where everyone can see me. Yeah. So on page 180, that is the route of Salman al-Farisi. Okay. And then before departing Quba 3 days later, the Prophet lays the foundations for the very first masjid. So those of you who have been to that area, you visited the Masjid Quba. He leaves for Yathrib and reaches the valley of Ramuna. And this is what he does there, which I'm going to ask you in the Kahoot. What does he do? He reaches the valley of Ramuna, where he leads the Khazraj clan of Salim in the Friday congregational prayer. So the Prophet leads the Friday prayer over there. I'm going to give you some choices that might say something else, like he leads a janazah, he sacrifices an animal. No, he leads the Friday prayer in that valley. And then, escorted by a group of about 100 men fully dressed in battle attire, the Prophet enters Yathrib on September 27, 622 CE. As he makes his way through the city, his camel halts a few times before stopping at a courtyard belonging to two orphans named Sahal and Suhail, who are under the guardianship of As'ad ibn Zuraha. The orphans offer their property as a gift, but once again, the Prophet insists on paying for the land, which becomes the site of the Prophet's mosque. Meanwhile, Abu Ayyub ibn Zayd takes the Prophet's belongings into his house, and the Prophet moves in to the first floor of Abu Ayyub's apartment. I'm also going to ask you that on the Kahoot. I'm going to be asking you, where does the Prophet stay over when he arrives in Yathrib? And so the answer is Abu Ayyub. And another question I have is that they start calling Yathrib Madinatul Munawwara, which means the city of the lights. I'm going to ask you, what is the meaning of Madinatul Munawwara?
Can you repeat that? It kind of.
Yes. So Madinatul Munawwara. So the city of Yathrib was called Madinatul Munawwara, which is the meaning of that is the city of lights. The city of lights. And I want you to know that the Prophet stays over at Abu Ayyub ibn Zayd's home when he arrives, okay? And so there's another nice little, illustration here on this page of the area that he stays and where his mosque is. That's on page 181. Let's go to page 182, 13.5, the new social contract. And so we have heard before in the last couple of days that the Aus and the Khazraj clans were usually in conflict, basically on the verge of a civil war. And then the Prophet offers a unique resolution, and that resolution is on page 182. I'm just going to read through that. He said that the root of the social troubles of Hijaz in the early 7th century AD was that the communal tribal system of the desert was breaking down in the settled life of Mecca and Medina. The precise reasons were different in the two places. In Mecca, a mercantile economy had fostered the growth of individualism. In Medina, the autonomy of each tribe and clan appropriate to the desert conditions led in the confined space of an oasis to an insecurity of life that had become intolerable. Individualism meant that the strong oppressed the weak and neglected their traditional duties to clan and family. It was present at Medina, but not so noticeable there at Mecca. The characteristic of the social structure of Medina was a tendency towards the formation of larger groupings, either as alliances or on the basis of kinship, real or artificial. In all this social disintegration, most individuals were doubtless painfully aware of their insecurity and isolation. Against this background, it is interesting to see how individualism and communalism were combined by Muhammad. In one respect, it was community of individuals, for Islam accepted the tendency towards individualism and even encouraged it as the new family structure. The ultimate moral sanction in Islam, punishment in hell, applies to the individual for his conduct as an individual. On the other hand, the individual was taken out of his isolation and insecurity and made to feel that he belonged to the ummah or community. Okay, so it just goes on, talking about, the social systems for the next page or so. If we look at page 184, there's a constitution. It says that the first and second Aqabas had unified the Aus and the Khazraj. In doing so, dissolved their previous alliances with the Jews. And then hoping to bring the entire community together, the Prophet drafts a constitution which disenfranchised Jewish tribes again agreed to sign. So here, there's 12 parts to this constitution. I'm just going to read them. It's on page 184. Number 1, the Jews are one community with Muslims with freedom to practice their own religion. Number 2, each shall be responsible for their own expenses. Number 3, each shall help the other from outside attack. Number 4, each shall confer matters with the other in mutual relationship based on righteousness. Number 5, neither shall commit sins nor prejudice with the other. Number 6, a wronged party will be aided by the other party. Number 7, Jews will pay for military defense as long as they are fighting alongside the Muslims. Number 8, the city will be a sacred place for both parties. Number 9, God and his messenger will settle disagreements between the two. Number 10, both parties will boycott the Quraysh. Number 11, both parties will defend Medina from attack. And number 12, the treaty will not stop either party from seeking lawful retribution or defense. Okay, so this is a constitution which the Prophet drafts with the Jewish tribes. If we now look on page 185, 13.6, Surah Al-Baqarah is revealed in a few stages. And so the Prophet's house begins construction. So this is another Kahoot question. So after the Prophet's arrival to Medina is when his house is constructed. But on the Kahoot question, I'm going to ask you something about when it was constructed. It might say something like it was already built for him before he arrives. And so if you can remember that, I'm going to ask.
Can you repeat that?
Yes. So basically, the Prophet's house starts getting built in Yathrib, and then Surah Al-Baqarah. Yes, Surah Al-Baqarah starts getting revealed. So all right. So Surah Al-Baqarah, if you look on page 185, describes the muttaqeen. It describes the mushrikeen. So the first passage is verses 1 through 5. So after Alif Lam Mim, then it says that is the book in which there is no doubt. It is a guide for those who are mindful of their duty to God. They're the ones who believe in what's beyond their perception, in other words, the ghaib or the unseen, establish regular prayer and spend in charity out of what we've given them. They believe in what is being revealed to you, O Muhammad, even as they believe in what has been revealed before your time, and they're confident of the reality of the next life. They're living by the guidance of their Lord, and they're the ones who will be successful. So here, the muttaqeen are being described. And then it goes on to verses 8 to 9. Actually, it skips, in this book, it kind of skips to verse 8. It says, among people are some who say, we believe in God in the last day, but they have no faith. They try to deceive God and those who believe, but they fool no one but themselves, and they don't even realize it. And then it skips over to verse 14, where it describes the mushrikeen or the polytheists in Mecca, where the verse says, when they meet the believers, they affirm, we believe too. But when they're alone with their satanic friends, they take back what they said by saying, we're really with you. We were only joking with them. And then finally, the last passage that's described here in the section is verse 109 from Surah Al-Baqarah. It says, many of the followers of the earlier revelation will selfishly try to destroy your faith even after they know the truth. So pardon them and pay them no mind until God fulfills his purpose, for God has power over all things. Okay, then we go on to the next page on 13.7, which talks about a little bit of trouble that takes place. So even though the prophets, helping to unify and strengthen the city of Yathrib, there's also some unwelcome military obligations that the Jews have to do now. And so, it talks about the revelation of verse 75 is Surah Imran. It says, there are, of course, honest people among the followers of early revelation. They will return a fortune in gold entrusted to them, while others won't even give back a single silver coin which they've been entrusted, unless you stood there and demanded it. That is because they say, we're not obligated by our faith to be fair with those of another religion. Yet how terrible do they lie against God, and they well know it. And then we go down, there is a man on page 186 at the bottom. There's a pact between the Aus and the Khazraj. There is a man named Shas ibn Qais who used to recite poems, and he brought back some sentimental feelings about the Battle of Bu'ath, which is, we heard about the Battle of Bu'ath yesterday, which is a skirmish between the Aus and the Khazraj. And, so this kind of brings up some sentimental feelings of animosity and revenge. So then the Prophet swiftly dissipates the situation by saying, O Muslims, by Allah have you entered the state of pre-Islamic ignorance while I am still among you. After Allah guided you to Islam, honored you with it, by it he cut the fetters of ignorance from your necks and delivered you from disbelief and united your hearts. We go on to page 187, where the brotherhood in Medina is described in a passage in the middle of the page, where it says, brotherhood in faith was holding subordinate every distinction of race and kindred and supporting the Islamic principle. None is superior to the other except the basis of piety and God-fearingness. So one of the teachings, one of the pillars that we know that happens in Medina is like this very strong brotherhood, which is very much supported and encouraged. And it was almost an obligation for people to, be brothers with one another. And it's really describing what that brotherhood was all about. If we look, those of you that have the book, page 188 has some, a little bit of illustrations, and these are the different pacts that unified Medina. So we have the pacts of Aqaba, the first and second pacts of Aqaba, the pact of equality between the Muslims and the Jews, and then the pact of brotherhood. And then 13.8, Abdullah ibn Ubay and Abu Amir ibn Safi. So before the Prophet arrived in Medina, the foremost leaders of Yathrib included Abu Amir ibn Saifi of Aus and his cousin Abdullah ibn Ubay of Khazraj. And, this Abu Amir is a monk that kind of accuses the Prophet of falsifying the truth. And what he says, he kind of taunts him and he says, may God let the liar die a lonely outcast exile. But then that kind of turned on him because that's kind of how he died. Because the Prophet says, okay, he acknowledges this, but a few years later, that monk found himself disenfranchised. He has to leave Medina with only 10 followers. And then we turn to the next page, 190, the end of the 13th year. Asad ibn Zuraha passes away shortly after the Hijrah, and Salman al-Farisi steals away from the work to catch a glimpse of the Prophet at Asad's funeral. When he identifies the unique prophetic seal on the Prophet's back, Salman embraces the new religion before returning to Bani Qayruza, where he is contracted to complete 4 more years of indentured work. And then we have a chief rabbi of Banu Qaynuqa who also becomes a convert. His name is Hussein ibn Salam. On the next page, after Hussein's conversion, so then we have basically on this page, which is the last page of our section today, I just talked about all the, conversions and all of the immigration. So it says, after Hussein's conversion, Abdullah ibn Zayd, a Khazraji, who was present at the second Aqaba, experiences a dream in which the adhan is used to gather the prayer congregation. The Prophet confirms his vision and establishes Bilal as the first muazzin. Okay, and then over the next several months, the Muslim community establishes its daily routine. So prayers are conducted 5 times a day. Fasting is prescribed during the month of Ramadan, and a lot of things that are halal are, and haram, a lot of those injunctions come into be that are revealed in the Quran. So we remember how we had that Quran chart that we were making, and it had like a lot of the Makki surahs and how we know the characteristics of those Makki surahs, right? And we'll go back and review those, but now we have some of the more, some of the details coming in about what is halal, what is haram. The mosque becomes the center of the community affairs in Medina, and soon after its construction, 2 rooms are added to the side for the Prophet's second and third wives, Sauda and Aisha. And then the Prophet sends Zayd to Mecca to escort Sauda and the Prophet's daughters, Kulthum and Fatima, to Medina. Zayd also brings his family, Ayman, to Medina as well. And then we have, shortly after Zayd's return, the Prophet persuades his first cousin, Zainab bin Jahash, to marry his adopted son. Around the same time, Zainab's sister, Hamna bin Jahash, marries Mus'ab ibn Umair. The Prophet's aunt, Umayma bint Abdul Muttalib, comes to Medina to attend both her daughters' weddings and then embraces the new religion. Also, Abu Bakr sends his son Abdullah to bring Abu Bakr's wife Ramun and daughters Asma and Aisha. Upon her arrival, Aisha marries the Prophet in a very simple ceremony. Abu Bakr's converted sister Qurayba stays in Mecca to take care of their elderly father Abu Quhafa, who has not yet entered Islam. And finally, despite the relative security in Medina, life on the oasis presents its own set of challenges. Several months after the Hijrah, an epidemic breaks out and a number of companions, including Abu Bakr and Bilal, suffer from a temporary fever. So that is basically the end of the section that we wanted to talk about today. I wanted to take, before our Kahoot game, I want to take a quick look at the Prophet's household, because I know the other day I wanted to do that, but I didn't get a chance to. So let me share my screen, at least to try to show you the illustration. So here we have the Prophet's household at this time. At this time, the Prophet is 53 years old. You can see his wives. So he has, let's look at his wives. So we know Khadija has already passed away in the year of sadness. We have Sauda, who is 31, Aisha, who is 9. And then we have children over here. We have Qasim died in infancy. Zainab is 23, the wife of Abu al-As. Ruqayya is 21. He's the wife of Uthman ibn Affan. Kulthum is 20. She's unmarried. Fatima is 18, and Abdullah died in infancy. And it also talks about servants, Rayhana bin Zayd, and adopted sons, Ali ibn Abi Talib, 21, Zayd ibn Haritha, and then their wives as well. So I did just want to look at that. What's nice about this book is every section or so it gives the family situation of the prophet according to his age. So this is not the first chart of the family. This one is when he's 53. But if you look at the other sections, they also have charts about, you know, how his family looked at that time. So there's one of the original one I think we went over with Khadija, you know, when she was alive. Okay, so let's pop over to the Kahoot. We have a few minutes left. You guys have been really good listeners. Alhamdulillah, I know it's a lot of information. So let's go over here. So if you will, open up your Kahoot. It's always a lot of fun. Let's see, and yes, Asma, are you gonna play? So the game pin is 730648. 730648. And I believe that I told you all the Kahoot questions. Today we have 10 questions on the Kahoot. And I will remember to put up that Quranic years chart by tomorrow. So Asma, do you want to play on my phone?
Oh, I see Doc.
730648. Now everyone's looking for Doc, right? Okay. So my husband.
Doc, I saw Doc.
So there is another thing I wanted to make you aware of as everybody is getting on the call or getting on the game. So we do regularly meet Sunday through Thursday. Just this Sunday, we are actually not going to have class, and that is Sunday, July 12th. I'm very sorry for that. We're going to resume classes. It looks like Asma loves the class. She's asking me. Yeah, so inshallah, we're going to resume class on Monday, okay? So today's Thursday, our next class will be Monday, inshallah, the 13th. I'll put that on the group as well. Okay.
For some reason, it won't let me in.
Is that on Monday, I would like to display some of your Quran charts and such. So if you email that or WhatsApp it to me, I will try to share that with the group. So let's go ahead and start our game. It's already time. We have 22 players and 10 questions. So number 1, who stays in the Prophet Muhammad's bed during his escape? Was it Hamza, Ali, Abu Bakr, or Aisha? Who stays in the Prophet Muhammad's bed during his escape? The answer is Ali. Very good. We talked about that at the beginning. And good job. Right now we have all girls in the lead. Next question. What city does the Prophet go to during the Hijrah? What city does the Prophet stop by at? Is it Quba, Kufa, Damascus, or Cairo? Oh my goodness, we put a lot of seconds on that one. It's supposed to be 10 seconds. Just skip. So yes, the answer is Quba. You're absolutely right. MashaAllah. Next question. Number 3, who accompanies the Prophet Muhammad during his hijrah? Do you remember who accompanied him? Was it Uthman, Ali, Mus'ab, or Abu Bakr? Uthman, Ali, Mus'ab, or Abu Bakr? Who accompanies the Prophet during his hijrah? The answer is Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu. May Allah be pleased with him. Excellent, excellent. Oh, Naveed is coming up. Number 4, the Meccans broke the spider's web at Mount Thawr and found the Prophet. Is that true or false? The Meccans broke the spider's web at Mount Thawr and found the Prophet. Is that true or false? Asma, what do you think? Yes, that is false. Absolutely right. Good job, mashallah. The next question, true or false? The Prophet Muhammad accepted his friend's camel Qaswa because he felt entitled. Is that true or false? Did he accept his friend's camel because he felt entitled? The answer is false. Everybody got a home run on that one. MashaAllah. Good job. We are getting to know this Sirah. Number 6, Salman al-Farisi. Describe him. From Persia, came to Yathrib to see the Prophet, born into a Zoroastrian family, or all of these? Can you tell me what's true about Salman al-Farisi? Yes, all of those things are true about Salman al-Farisi. Very, very good. Good job. Number 7, what does the Prophet Muhammad do in the valley of Ranuna or Rahuna? Does he perform a sacrifice, complete a janazah, lead the Jummah, or none of these? What does the Prophet do in the valley of Ranuna? Yes, he leads the Jummah prayer. Exactly, mashallah. And the next question is, whose home does the Prophet stay in at Yathrib when he arrives? Mus'ab, Salman al-Farisi, Abu Ayyub, or none of these? Whose home does the Prophet stay at in Yathrib? Yes, the answer is Abu Ayyub. MashaAllah, you guys are getting to be knowledgeable scholars, MashaAllah. I see some people moving up. Hamna, Warda, Manha, Naveed. Number 9, Medina al-Munawwara means what? A city of sisters, city of lights, a desert city, or the city to the north. What does Medina al-Munawwara mean? Exactly, it means a city of lights. Very, very good. Next question. Number 10, true or false? The Prophet Muhammad's house was built for him prior to his arrival in Yathrib. When was the Prophet Muhammad's house built for him? Was it before he came or after? So true or false? Was it built before? That is false, and most of you got that perfectly correct, mashallah. Okay, excellent, excellent. Everybody, so 9 out of 10, Fatima Mujtaha. 9 out of 10, Asiya. 10 out of 10, Manha. Mashallah, mashallah. And we also have Warda and Noor. Excellent. Okay, sorry, Warda and Hamna and Noor. Okay, you guys did really great today. Mashallah, you guys are a really good class. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. You can catch up on a lot of the worksheets that we have. I will try to post some examples by tomorrow. And also, if you can, by Monday, before Monday, try to send me some work that you want me to display. We can share that on Monday. And have a great weekend. We're not meeting on Sunday. Inshallah, we're going to resume classes on Monday. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Is Baba on this one?
I think so.
Hi, Baba.
Hey, Mama.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, Baba.